Welcome back, Illumineers, to our coverage of the Winnabox tournament at Atlas Games for Winterspell. We are going to see a match here now between Jason and Matt. We've seen Matt a couple times on stream already in this tournament. He is on Blurple, and then we've got Jason, who is on the very powerful Amber Emerald Dogs.
Yeah, and I believe we saw Jason in round one of these tournaments as well. So both of these players so far fairly experienced with the stream and should be a good match.
Yeah, we are going to see how this Blurple fares into dogs. Traditionally in previous sets, Blurple did not have the best matchup into the dogs deck at all. I still don't know that it's a great matchup, but I would say that there are some tools that Blurple has to be able to deal with this powerful dogs deck
Yeah, and you see
this
the
set
the
that it
players
didn't
there
have.
just kind of going over each other's deck lists. So with the semifinals and the finals here, it will be open deck lists. So they're just taking a peek there to kind of see what are some of the kind of the tricky cards or some of those tech options that the other players might be using.
Yeah, good to mention there that we are going into round one of the top cut. I don't know
Notable
who had
tech
the higher seed.
cards. Um, Notable tech cards are probably kind of the five cost Pete for Matt's Blurple deck that we've seen kind of just be a decent card engine to kind of keep himself drawing as well as uh, opting for the Tigger.
Yeah, and I something interesting that I noticed with Jason's dogs list as well. One copy of Go Go Tamago, which of course can be retrieved later on with a Shift Lady Miss Park Avenue, but Go Go is a card that can really punish Blurple if the Blurple player is leaving a lot of damage on their characters.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and certainly some of those characters like that Pete that we just mentioned, they could find themselves sitting with quite a bit of damage on them.
So the players alter their hands, and we will be off here. Players getting the hands loaded in. Looks like both players have a fairly standard curve that they want to see. No Grandmother Willow in Jason's opening hand, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Dumbo is really the four drop that Matt is hoping to kind of be able to lead out with here, but it will
sure.
help him restock his hand, which right now might be a little bit tricky to do.
We see Finnick go into the Inkwell. Probably not a card that is um, something that every dog's list is running. It's, kind of a niche card for some lists.
Yeah, it's a card that can really be kind of decent in the mirror match, but I mean, it could also be used in this match to bounce something like a Genie or an Elsa, which might be enough of
Sure.
a tempo play to be useful later on.
Yeah,
Um,
very relevant.
but we do see it go into the Inkwell there and leading out with the Bobby. I suspect just trying to get that Willow into the hand, but we haven't been able to find it yet for Jason. For Matt there, I'm not sure what we drew. Looks like we drew the Royal Guard there.
Yeah. I think good to okay, maybe we drew another four cost here.
Yeah, yeah, they're okay. We did actually end up with a
Okay.
Tigger, which is probably the four drop that Matt really is kind of wanting to be able to go off with. Opting to ink the Dumbo, which seeing the Hades in the hand there to be able to play on five after the Tigger, that Hades in this matchup will almost certainly draw cards because this dog's deck really needs bodies to be able to stay on the field.
Yeah, so Jason playing Mowgli here, and there's no actions in Matt's hand. or I should say non-character cards. Remember that Mowgli can take anything that's not a
Yep.
character.
The probably the most notable here is the Woodchuck Guidebook.
Yeah.
But did get to dodge that. It'll be interesting to see if we see that Tigger come down and bounce up the Mowgli. Um, yep, and I think that
Yeah,
that's
I would.
smart. I mean, I think even looks like Matt drew a Demona there, so knows that the Mowgli will still miss, but also the draw discard effect of this Bobby can really help Jason kind of sculpt the hand that he's hoping to look for.
Jason playing that Nani stage manager, so that lets him look at the top four and reveal a character with cost two or less, and it goes into his hand.
Yeah, and that Nani, I think, really one of the key pieces that this deck got with the new Winterspell set. Being able to kind of have a few more extra cards in hand for when that tramp does come down really helps this deck kind of filter to what it wants to find.
So we do see the Hades go into the Inkwell, and we get Pete out.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly interesting play there. I suspect just opting for kind of the long term value that the Pete will be able to provide with boosting and questing over
Sure.
the burst cards that the Hades may have been able to get him.
And I think we do. I don't know if Matt's hand is updated. I believe we have a Demona in hand. Is that
Um,
maybe not?
Possibly. I know we saw a Demona go to the Inkwell.
Okay, we did. Because for this turn, it was the Hades that went into the Inkwell to play the Pete. So,
So yeah, the hand may be to Hades there. So maybe opting to just use the Pete, filter to some of the cards that he needs, and make sure he hits that ink. But we do see this Mickey Mouse come down. This Mickey Mouse, an interesting one. it it will let this Nani be able to potentially challenge into the Tigger and survive, um, but also opting to if he can get another Amber character down, it can sing Under the Sea by itself.
so we will go with a boost on the Pete, and that is essentially just drawing a card.
Oh, looks like I don't know if that we drew that off the Pete or the genie, but there was a Demona in hand at least right now. And Jason, with the ability to sing this Under the Sea, if he gets down another Amber character, which I suspect we will see kind of come down here. Right now, that Under the Sea does take out the Genie and the Basil.
Yeah, it would be really great to see like a one drop Rhino come in and decrement the Tigger. But I don't know if we. Doesn't look like we have that in hand.
And notably, we do see it looks like a Rhino and an Under the Sea go into the Inkwell there. Um, Interesting choices because we could have potentially gotten an extra character if we were able to use the Rhino plus something else to be able to move into that. But does opt to take out the
Yeah.
Nani with or take out the Tigger with Nani there. With the additional willpower from the Mickey Mouse, it will end up surviving. It does open it up to if Matt is able to remove this Mickey Mouse, the Nani will end up banishing as a result of that damage, though.
Yeah, and it looks like we'll have enough to ink for the Hades, so you can play Hades on the Mickey, and then the Nani automatically is banished too. be curious if that's the line that Matt goes with here.
I suspect we will see that. I suspect we see a quest with this Pete first, though, because we do have the End of the Unknown in hand as well. So, if we wanted to instead establish a couple other characters, or a couple other options, we could. We do see the tramp come down.
Goes for the tramp.
Perhaps maybe singing the Into the Unknown on the Mickey. Oh, just challenging. And I don't know if I recall all of the cards that have been in discard yet for Jason, but we may see a lady come out here to help clean up this Pete and just kind of prevent some of the card draw ability that Matt's able to leverage here.
Yeah. Especially with a one drop lady and another shift lady in hand.
But I don't think we've seen a 2-cost tramp yet to be able to take out the Pete instead with the Bobby.
I don't think so. Getting the
He's looking at the
looks like we're
Ursula
just
here,
looking at
which
the options, yeah.
would be actually pretty good. We do see an End of the Unknown on Matt's hand, so if that Ursula comes down, that could end up being pretty impactful. Getting the ladies out instead, though. Leaving the Pete. With Matt being at 2 cards, interesting kind of deciding to leave him kind of this card draw engine.
Yeah, we can see another boost potentially on this Pete, which would now turn it into a develop your brain. Still have the ability to ink.
And I believe play another Hades.
Yeah. And actually, I like seeing that Into the Unknown go into the inkwell there because we know that, Jason brought back this Ursula.
Yeah, I mean, knowing that that's in hand, um, you really probably don't want to keep any of those songs.
And I don't know enough about the, playing the dogs deck to say for certain, but it feels like for dogs, it's pretty hard to come back from at this point. I mean, I guess if there are ways to lower the strength for these Hades and find
Yeah, and
another under the
I'm not
seat, but I
entirely
mean, it just
sure.
feels like
There's definitely ways to kind of go about it, but I mean, I think the 2-cost tramp is kind of the avenue to back into it. Um, we do see the big tramp come down prior to the Nani. Opting for the shift line instead there.
looks like getting the Ursula and maybe a Rhino back.
Yeah, and I suspect we do not have an updated hand with all of the drawing and discarding that Jason just did, but I mean, I suspect he is really digging the for a 2-cost tramp.
So Jason opts to quest there. Knowing that looks like we boost Pete again. And this Pete, you really can. There's no limit to how many times you can boost it. I suspect that you probably set yourself a limit at a certain point, but uh, you know you could almost turn this into a vision of the future if it lives a long
Yeah,
time.
I think we're at 3 now, if I'm not mistaken. But also, I mean, this Pete has drawn um, probably 3 or 4 cards now.
Yeah. We hard cast an Into the Unknown to remove that shifted lady.
I
And I
suspect
think
we
the
just see a woodchuck guide come down here along with a basil and challenge into these exerted characters.
yeah. We have not seen a cat yet for Matt. I'm just choosing to play another guidebook down.
I mean, the guidebook here is fairly safe. I don't believe that this dogs list really runs anything that would be able to answer an item. So a fairly comfortable play there, and Jason now in the tough position with this dogs deck of trying to figure out how to come back from behind here. The dogs deck really not a deck that wants to have to answer the opponent. Really wants to be able to kind of just get the widest board, maybe clear
Right.
theirs with an Under the Sea, and then just quest 2 or 3 turns, and bursts enough to be able to get you to 20.
Don't think we have seen. Have we seen any Grandmother Willows this game?
I do not believe we have, but I also believe that, I mean, Jason, I think, has enough ink to play anything that he'd want to play.
Sure.
Matt certainly helped him out with that, but
I just thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know that I've seen a Lilo Escape Artist either. Had to check to make sure both were in the deck.
yeah, it looks like we've got 4 of both of those, but I think you were right. I don't believe that I've seen either of those cards, as well as we really haven't seen this tramp yet. Um,
No. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. That's a total of 12 cards that we
Because I
haven't
mean,
seen a copy
one of
of.
these tramps. I mean, we've played enough of these 5 cost ladies. We could have been actually fighting this board and taking out some of these characters if Jason had been able to find that 2 cost tramp.
This Pete could get boosted again. Why not?
I suspect we'll see that unless Matt has other plans for the ink, but I suspect anytime we see a leftover ink, we're going to see it go underneath that peat. Oh, just opting for the quest though.
That's all right. Looking at 3 is still quite good.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah. I suppose with Pete at a certain point, I mean, you're sending so many cards to the bottom, just like you would with, a vision or, a develop, that at a certain point you don't want to send everything to the bottom of your deck.
I mean, if you can do it large enough, you basically get to just stack your entire deck though.
That's true. We could just boost this Pete into oblivion.
Okay. Looking at Jason's hand there as he's updating it, actually have some fairly good answers to this board potentially.
Yeah.
Um, Challenging into the tramp though does make it a little bit trickier, but we do still have the ability to sing the Under the Sea. We do have 2 rhinos to be able to decrement either the
Yeah.
Hades or the cats, or the Pete potentially.
Adela's here would go crazy.
And the Mickey Mouse is actually a fairly good draw as well. Just kind of taking these characters out of the range of Jason being able to damage them.
This looks like it. Yep. Here we go. So we choose the cat. Got to get rid of that first.
And I'm not sure there. It looks like Jason may still even be able to just hard cast the Under the Sea if he really wants to. Which then would open up the ability for him to
uh,
challenge into these Hades.
okay, so we get a let it go out of Matt's hand here. We do play the Mickey, and we're gonna sing it. Wow, it's pretty solid.
It's definitely
Clears
a
a
good
lot of
swing.
things. Yeah,
We do still have
because now,
the Pete
yeah, the
looking
Pete is
pretty
still
deep in the deck,
there,
though.
but the Hades also notably cannot remove this Nani by itself because of the
Right.
Mickey Mouse.
And does Mickey Mouse give 2 or 3 extra willpower?
I think it
2.
is 2 extra willpower.
So the
Yeah,
Pete could take out the Nani, but is not able to do so on the lady.
and it does not. I can't tell if that let it go in the Matt's hand is
No,
something we drew or it's the one
Jason
that was
had played
discarded.
the Ursula,
Yeah, to
uh,
take it out.
so I believe we do not have a let it go for Matt.
So we do quest the Pete here. I suspect maybe we're looking for something like a let it go or a maybe a cat.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know if I think all of the cards that right now appear in Jason's hand we saw on the field and or played. So I'm not sure Matt or that Jason actually has any cards left in his hand.
You were right though. The Hades looking for a deal is almost certainly just going to continue drawing cards for Matt.
Yeah, I mean, the dog's deck unfortunately it has to make sure that it can keep questing, and if it ever doesn't have the ability to do that, then it will struggle quite a bit.
Yeah, tough for Jason here to not. There we go. There's a Willow. Many turns too late, but it is tough because with so many cards that Jason has drawn, if he had a Lilo Escape Artist or two in the discard, this would be the ideal time to bring those back.
That's true.
I feel like yeah, you remove the Hades here
I
because your
suspect we
Nani
see the lady
lives.
go into this Pete at this point now too. Oh, opting to quest instead.
Opting to quest, yeah. I think Jason has the right idea here. Just got to, you know, get to the finish line. Matt can only go to 15 here. Blurple is not a deck that has any kind of instant lore burst typically.
Yeah, and I think it'll kind of come down a little bit to whether or not Matt finds an answer for this Mickey Mouse.
Yes, because right now, even these Hades cannot remove rhinos by themselves.
No, but we do have the ability to boost again and get 1 card further with a Pete. And I believe enough ink to play a Hades or anything else that would help us kind of alleviate some of the issues that Matt's having with this Mickey Mouse out on the field.
Yeah, this Mickey Mouse, honestly, out of all the champion characters, probably my favorite. Just such a cool card.
Oh, and
So we
we've got
do
the
have a
let it
way to
go in the
remove
hand.
it. Now we see this swing again.
Yeah.
I suspect maybe there's a cat in hand.
I mean, that would be probably the nail in the coffin there, as we're going to kind of see Matt be able to walk through most of Jason's board here.
And that is what is so interesting about.
And we do have the cat.
Yeah, we have the cat. That's rough. Yeah, I think we just go into the Basil is not worth keeping around, and now we just got a little tree.
Yeah, and the willow is a lot less scary when Jason's already got 10 or so ink.
Right. Oh, well, at least it was the Lilo.
Yeah, it's probably a little late, but
Yeah, I think
it looks like we've got an
at this
Elsa there
point,
in hand as well for Matt here.
yeah,
Um,
this is tough.
as
I
well
mean,
as the Hades could go into the Willow and then just Cheshire the damage from the Hades over to the Bobby. So
yeah, and this Pete is still going.
yeah,
And it looks like Jason maybe just says, "That's I've seen enough." That was a swingy game, though. I mean, that was a really
yeah, there was
impressive turn.
a lot of turns in that game where it kind of felt like the the leader of the board and the winning the race really kind of continued to shift from turn to turn there. A
And
lot.
that's one thing that, I love particularly about Blurple that I've played is Blurple always just gives you this feeling that you're one card away from being able to, completely change the course of the game. And if you can just find that card, and in this case, it was something to deal with this Mickey.
Yeah, and I mean that is certainly one thing that like that 5 cost Pete that we saw there is very very good at doing. Very very good at digging through several cards to try to find some of the key cards that you might need.
We did not see an Emerald Chromacon for Jason in that game either. It looks like he is on two of them. A card that, if Blurple does not have a running start, they really have to rely on Hades and their Into the Unknowns and Let It Goes to do most of the removal because their cards are too expensive to really afford to bounce them all repeatedly.
Yeah, Blurple though a pretty good deck at being able to get around that Emerald Chromacon. It's running.
At least, well, I'm not sure Matt's list. It looks like four,
12 options that would
12.
be able to get rid of
Yeah.
it. Potentially 16, though the Hades will almost certainly draw cards as opposed to remove anything. But also the Tigger is a good way to kind of
Yeah.
gain some of that tempo without triggering the Chromacon. But we do get to see
Okay.
Jason on the play here.
Ooh. I hope that's seven. No, it's not. We see no ramp in Matt's opening hand here.
No. Looks like we might have drawn a Pete for turn there too, so may not have it. Um, but we do see an Inca Basil play a Basil.
Seems like that makes sense. I mean, I think uh, there are ways to get around not having ramp with Blurple, although I would say that this matchup probably is considerably harder if you miss that turn two ramp.
Yeah, I mean, with how Jason is looking at his too, I'm not sure that he's going to be seeing this turn two ramp unless the ink decision is just a little bit tricky. We do see a Mowgli come down though.
Yeah, I think Matt taking the Let It Go because you can at least play this guidebook on turn two, although really not what you want to do.
No, but also I don't know that Mowgli is really what Jason's wanting to do here either.
No, and we see the Go-Go Tamago go into the Inkwell, which feels very good. They've seen each other's lists and know that there's only the one of.
And we do get Jason's hand getting updated here. Notably does have the Grandmother Willow though, so could have opted for Grandmother Willow getting the lady out, which would have allowed for the tramp on the next turn. Um, Interesting choice to go for the Mowgli here.
We do play Grandmother Willow here. Lady comes down for free. We see the Dumbo go into the Inkwell, which I think, okay, we drew a genie, and that makes
You know,
sense.
okay. We did get Matt's hand updated there. Looks like Genie, Hades, and Pete.
We have Adela's to
Potentially help here with
the
an under the
cat.
sea getting pulled off. Um, it'll be interesting to see whether or not Jason rips it. Does throw the Dellas away, which would make me kind of think that we didn't end up finding the under the sea, but a Nani and a lady there.
The lady can get back this Tramp Enterprising Dog, which is a really helpful card in this matchup.
It definitely can. It also can come down and just kind of let us start questing. We may also see the Nani just come down here first. But I think if that lady does come down, then we could see the lady start to quest. Um, Jason may be fearing the Elsa, but right now the board wouldn't really be very good on Matt's side for being able to answer it.
We do see the Nani come down.
And it gets a Willow.
It looks like I'm not sure what we top decked, but we have the option to either play Hades or Pete here.
Opting to get the Pete going. I mean, that Pete was very, very good for Matt last game, so I can
It
understand
was.
wanting to get it going here.
And hard for Jason to deal with, in an under the sea fashion. We'd have to lower its strength more than one time.
But also notably here, we do see um, Jason now with this extra Willow, but likely might have to just ink to get this lady, Miss Park Avenue, on the field. But at this point, the Pete is able to take it out without getting lost itself, so the ability to quest with that lady isn't quite as open and free as it would have been.
So it looks like we play the Tramp Enterprising Dog.
To just start questing. And I think that that's an interesting choice there. I mean, if you wait one turn, you likely are able to utilize this 2-drop tramp to be able to take out that Pete.
Yeah, and of course this does allow the lady to quest for extra. And it looks like we're preserving one lady for a shift, but Jason is only on 2 ink still, and if we potentially see, okay, well, I was going to say if we saw an Elsa to remove both shift targets, that could be pretty powerful.
We do see a Demona over in Matt's hand, which, coming out on this next turn, that Demona could be very, very scary.
Yeah. And we will be able to remove a fair amount of cards here. We boost up the Pete to be able to remove that tramp.
Notably leaving the Willows here. Oh,
I
we
suspect
do
we'll
end
take
up
one
taking
of
one.
them, yeah.
I was going to say, those Willows right now for Jason are pretty much the only way that he'll be able to play his cards. So those characters getting taken out is pretty rough.
Yeah, and the Tramp Enterprising Dog, could have potentially been held to, take care of this cat or the Pete, like you mentioned, cards that, certainly we don't want to see on Matt's board.
And it looks like we did pop the Woodchuck guidebook there at the end of Matt's turn. So Matt's sitting now with a lot of answers in his hand.
Yeah, several cards.
Several cards in his hand that are able to take out some of these characters on Jason's side, as well as the cat sitting over there, just threatening to take things out on this following turn. I suspect we see the shift here. Getting back that tramp and something else to be able to ink and play it, allowing Mowgli to potentially challenge into Pete. We do see
Choose to
it
go
take
for the
out the
cat.
cat. Interestingly, there, I think the lady would have been able to. Okay. We are rethinking some of it there. Taking out the Pete there,
Yeah,
taking out the cat with the lady. Yep.
I think that makes sense.
Thinking about taking out this Basil maybe with the Willow, but
I don't know. That Willow is still very important right now for you.
it definitely is. But he may be looking at right now the Basil can crash into this lady without really taking any sort of opportunity or taking
Sure.
any
Yeah,
kind of
there's
risk on Matt's side here or Jason's side here. Um, but we also do know that this Demona is in hand for Matt, so we may see the Demona come down to be able to take out the Willow and the lady anyway.
Yeah, I mean, even a cat right here would be so good because we have 1 damage on the genie.
And I guess I thought Jason's hand was up to date, but it looks like he is at 2 cards. So the Demona would end up drawing Jason a card, but I mean, taking out that Willow ink there seems incredibly beneficial for Jason right now.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we won't be seeing that. We do just crash the Basil into the lady. I suspect wanting to establish this royal guard so that if Jason plays something with a little bit bigger health, now we can play Demona.
Yeah, but I mean, Matt would then be sitting with a Let It Go in his hand and a Hades, so he'd be able to answer 2 things without 2 unexerted things on the following turn. Um, Certainly a difficult decision to make, but this Willow kind of becoming increasingly important for Jason.
Yeah, the Demona here.
I suspect we see the big blue Hades come down here.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Potentially taking out the Nani. Notably, Jason is at 8 character costs on the board, so could be able to get a Under the Sea off here if he was to draw one. And Under the Sea right now would be able to take out everything on Matt's side of the board.
Yeah.
We do see
Choosing
one of the Demonas go
to
into the
ink a
Inkwell.
Demona.
And that's 7.
That's the big blue Hades.
Yep, and we do see it go there on the Nani, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Just take the biggest body away from Jason's side.
Absolutely. Especially, we have a Let It Go in hand. So, if there were a shift lady that came down, we would have another way to deal with it.
Yeah, as well as, I mean, right now the Royal Guard would be able to challenge into any of the characters on Jason's side and be able to live to tell the tale, whereas the Nani it would have to sacrifice itself to do so. We do see a Mickey and a Tramp in Jason's hand. Maybe drew a Nani. Looks like we're exerting 2 ink there. Oh, getting the lady out.
Kind of hard to tell what's there in the discard available to Jason. We get back a
does
lady.
not have an Ursula available in this game anymore.
So we just get 2 1-cost ladies back.
And opting to just play both.
Yeah, I think we did see the Ursula hit the Inkwell earlier, and notably, Jason's list is only on one Ursula Deceiver.
But we do just go ahead and quest for 4 there. Just trying to come up with enough threats to just sneak over the finish line.
And with Demona, we plus a Let It Go. I mean, we really have the ability to clean up this whole board.
Yeah, and I mean, notably now, Matt could actually play this Hades, and if Jason lets him draw 2 cards, the Royal Guard would start to be able to punch for quite a bit.
That's true. Takes out the Lady Miss Park Avenue very easily.
Which would then let your other characters clean up the other 2. And I think, unfortunately for Jason, he would kind of have to do it to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The octopus is taking something
we do
one
see
way or
that
the
coming
other.
through. And that Royal Guard now should be at 4 power. Yep, we do see it going to the lady.
Draws 2 cards for the Hades, 1 for turn, so yeah.
And now I think we can see the Hades go into this Tramp and your healthiest Genie go into the Willow. Actually, potentially I think you send your unhealthiest Genie.
Yeah, so we do bounce the
Yeah,
Willow back to hand, and
I think having the Genie attack into the Willow there and then bounce one of the ladies would have been potentially a little bit better. Just on the case that you draw a Cheshire Cat, you'd have 2 damage on that Genie to be able to shift over.
sure.
I believe we've also seen the go into the ink this game as well.
We did. It was very early in the game.
And that is a big lady.
Yep. So Jason able to go fairly wide here.
Notably,
He
had
does
had
have
he
lethal
opted to
on board.
quest, I think both of those ladies would have quested for 3.
Uh, yes, they would have.
He could have utilized the Willow to punch in and quest for an additional 3.
The
Um,
Willow did come down this turn.
I think it was just Bobby, Lady, and Tramp.
Uh,
But
it
I
may
think
have
I
been.
think
I
Jason
thought the
had the
grandmother
opportunity
Willow came in.
to get to 19 on that turn.
Yeah. So Matt takes game two. Those Lilo escape artists really were uh they were escape artists, all right. I don't know that we ever really saw those play a role
No,
in
we never
these
really saw them
two
come up.
games.
This second game, though, they would have been a little bit tricky for Jason to be able to utilize. He didn't quite have as much spare ink as he did in the first match, but definitely a good match. And with that, we will be moving on to the finals, where we'll end up seeing Matt again there. I believe taking on Colleen.
We'll see you there.